it's your girl Nefarious, and today I'm bringing you a brand new sew-along called the Angie. She is a very square and flat box, kind of reminiscent of like a pizza box. Yeah, kind of fun, right? She does have a handle and an inside slip pocket. She measures about 9.5 by 9.5 and 2 inches tall. And so without further ado, let's get started. All right, general tools that I am going to be using include my awl, some double-sided tape. I've got multiple sizes here. I've got 1/8, 1/4, and 1/2 inch. I've got marking tools. I've got various ones. I've got a pair of snips. I've got an X-Acto knife. I've got a turning tool. Got my lighter, just in case. A ruler. This is from More Me Know. I've got my rivet guide. Got my hole punch. And I've got my clips, just in case. I kind of was like, I'm missing something here. These are my general tools that I'll be using throughout my video. So let's talk about what we need for the Angie. You need 2 1-inch D-rings and 2 zipper pulls. Pretty simple, right? Then what we are going to need includes the bottom gusset and its coordinating gusset liner. And remember, if you are new to our sew-alongs, to use your exterior as your template when cutting out the lining. Sometimes in the wash, the lining will shrink a little bit, so make sure you're using your exterior as your template. Your zipper tape, which is cut to match the zipper gusset and the zipper gusset lining. As you can see, I already went ahead and I found the centers on all of those. Then you need to have your 2 exterior main panels and your coordinating matching linings. You will have a handle, a slip pocket, and then you will have 2 D-rings. For your D-rings, you're going to flip these over and find the center. Then you're going to use a little bit of double-sided sticky tape. Pull that backing off. Take your long edge and line it up to that center mark. Give that a good press. Repeat for your other side. Press. Now I like to use clips to help secure and hold that in place since I'm not going straight to the sewing machine. So then repeat for your second D-ring. Set that to the side. You know this wouldn't be in the Nefarious video if I didn't do a whole bunch at one time, so I'm grabbing the slip pocket and of course a bunch of clips, and I'm going to fold it right side together, matching up those short edges. Just like so. And I'm going to press this fold down, and then I'm going to clip together like so. And what I like to do is I'm going to stitch down the side, and then I'm going to leave about a 4-inch opening along this short edge so that I can turn this out. But remember, we are going to backstitch really well at the beginning and the ends because we'll be putting a lot of stress right here when we flip this out. So I'll set this to the side. Next, I'm grabbing my handle, and what you're going to want to do is flip this to the wrong side and draw a 1-inch line. Grab your double-sided sticky tape, and I am going to place a strip of double-sided sticky tape on the side that is bigger. I'm going to pull that paper off, and then I'm going to take this long edge and match it up just a little bit below that line I drew. So there'll be just a scant 1/8 of an inch separation between the long edge and that line I drew. Now, Neff, why did you do it that way? Well, I did that so I can make sure this goes all the way to the other edge. So that's why I did it that way. I'm grabbing a skinnier double-sided sticky tape here. I'm going to put another strip right down the center. You don't have to do that. This just helps me out a little bit. So I'm going to put another strip right down the middle. And then I'm going to pull that backing off. And then just like I said, I'm going to take this long edge and I'm going to fold it over to where it matches over with this fold right here. I'm also going to throw a couple clips on just so I can help hold it in place. And then that can be set to the side. I'm grabbing one main lining. You can say this is your front lining if you want. And I'm grabbing another main lining or a main panel. You can say that is your front panel. And I'm just going to put these wrong sides together. Just like so. And I'm going to clip these together. All we will do with this is we are going to baste them together. We will do nothing else with this panel. Now I'm going even smaller on my double-sided tape, and I'm grabbing my zipper gusset, my zipper tape, and my zipper gusset lining. This doesn't matter which way you want to do this. It doesn't matter at all at the moment. I'm going to apply a thin strip. This is 1/8 inch of double-sided sticky tape to the long edge of the external zipper gusset, and I'm going to remove that backing. Then I'm going to take my zipper tape. I'm going to put it right side down on top of that gusset, lining up my centers. And then I'm going to line up the edge of the zipper tape with the edge of the gusset here. So it'll look just like that. I'm going to repeat for the opposite side here. And then I'm going to place another strip of double-sided tape right along that same edge. Take that paper backing off. Then I'm going to take our zipper gusset lining and I'm going to put it face down, matching up the center. And then lining up the edge of the lining with the edge of the zipper tape and the external lining. So it looks like this. I'm going to just grab a couple clips for my sanity, what's left of it anyway. And this is ready. So let's recap what we are taking to the sewing machine. We have our handle that's ready to and prepped. We have our two D-rings, our slip pocket that is right sides together. We have our main lining and main panel wrong sides together for basting. And we have our zipper gusset. So with all that said, let's head to the sewing machine. I will be leaving my threads long for the moment just so I'm not going insane, even though I am. I'm starting off with my D-ring connectors. I am stitching these down. You can do 1/8 of an inch or you can do 1/4 of an inch. It's entirely up to you, whatever you feel comfortable. Today I am doing 1/4 of an inch. I am back stitching at the beginning and the end of this. I like to speed my process up, so I do the D-rings back to back. I'm setting those to the side. For the handle, you can do 1/4 inch or you can do 1/8 inch seam allowance. I like to tend to match what I do to D-rings. Today I will do 1/8 of an inch. I am going to start on the short end. I'm going to backstitch well. A quick trim. And then I'm going to set that to the side. For our slip pocket, I'm going to start up here. I am going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to backstitch well at the beginning, then I'm going to go around. Now I'm going to trim up all of my threads. Set that to the side. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the zipper tape, backstitching really good at the beginning and the end. I like to fold my zipper gusset lining just like so that I can get it to fold away from the zipper tape. Give it a nice finger press, then I will flip it around, and then I will do the same exact thing with the exterior gusset. Then I'm going to pull the gusset and the lining to mate together, and then I'm going to top stitch. You will notice I am not going to close my gusset like I normally would, and that's because I need to be able to attach the handles, so I will set this to the side for right now. And finally, we are going to baste our exterior to our lining. Overhang, as you can see, I've got a little bit. Go ahead and clean that up. Then we're going to go back to the table. We have our zipper gusset, and you want the right side facing up towards you. You also need your handle, a little bit of double-sided tape. I'm going to go with the thicker one. This is the 1/2 inch. You want a ruler. It doesn't matter at this point which one it is. Please ignore the screaming children. They are fine. Make sure you did make your center mark on your zipper gusset, because that will be critical at this point. So what we want to do is you are going to want to measure over 3 3/8 from your center, and you're going to want to make a mark, whether that's with an erasable mark or a slightly tiny visible mark. You want to make a mark. I would say maybe just a 1/4 inch, just so you know where to line up your handle. And then you're going to repeat 3 3/8 on the other side. And then if you're looking for like how far up to make that mark, it's 0.75 inches. So that's where you're going to measure up from this long side, 0.75 inches. And then it's 3 3/8 from the center on one side and 3 3/8 from the other side on the center. So those are the marks we need to make. On your handle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to place just a little bit of double-sided tape. I am not taking the backing off yet. And what I am going to do is make it right side up, and I'm going to measure an inch square. So I'm going to set my 1 inch line. Make sure you can see me right on that stitching, and then I'm going to make me a mark so I know where to stitch, and then I'm going to repeat, set it on that stitch line, know where to stitch. And what I'm going to do is I will take this to the machine. I'm going to flip the lining away, and then I'm going to stitch the square down on both sides so that this doesn't move. It'll look like this. I've lost my mark. There it is. It'll look like this. So you'll have a 1 inch mark on both sides, and it'll be fine. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll take my backing off. I'm going to take the backing off of 1 right now, just so I can match it up to the mark I have. And then I'm just going to set this to the side so I can go back to the machine. Then I have our D-rings. I'm going to go ahead and thread my D-rings onto our D-ring connectors, and I'm going to fold that in half and clip together, just like so. Going to repeat for the second one. That's done. Those can just sit to the side. Then we have our zipper, or I'm sorry, our slip pocket. What I want us to do is you're going to want to clip these corners. Do not cut the threads, but you want to cut triangles so that it'll be nice and flush when you turn it. And what I have discovered with what I like about WPC, not necessarily that I discovered it, is that if you press, especially with K&As, if you press this side, it gets really nice and pliable. It doesn't mess with the coating that makes it waterproof. So what I recommend is pressing this with an iron or even using a blow dryer to warm it up so you can flip it right side out. Once you get it right side flipped out, I am going to fold the, I don't know what else to call this, but like the lips of the pocket there, fold them in. I'm just going to finger press that in, and then I'm going to match the other side up into it, just like so. I'm not worried about this right now because when we stitch it to the lining, it will be stitched shut. So I'm just going to use some clips just to help keep it in place. What we are going to do is we are going to take this to the machine and we are going to top stitch this. So I will set this to the machine. In fact, I think it's time to go to the machine. So let's go on over. We are at the machine with the handle. I have one side already double taped, shoot, with some sticky tape already down. And as I said, you measure in 0.75 inches. This was from the center 3 3/8, from the other center, from the other side 3 3/8. And what we are going to do is we are going to stitch right on our stitching line. I'm going to, you can leave your threads long, tie off in the back, but I'm just going to back stitch right on my, or I'm going to sew right on my stitching. I've got my lining pulled out of the way, and we're just going to, so like I said, you could back stitch, you can absolutely leave your threads long. Make sure I see my mark. Now, if you so desire, you could be a little extra bougie and put a rivet right there in the center. I will not be doing that for this video, but if you so desire, you could put a rivet on either side. Now, what I will do is I am going to fold my gusset lining back over. And what I am going to do is I am going to base stitch this close, matching the exterior up with the lining. So that's what I'm going to do now. And then clean my threads up. From here, you can put your zippers on. Now here, you can choose one zipper or two. At the beginning of the video, I said you need 2 zippers, but again, it's up to you if you want to do 1 or 2. I will be threading 2 zippers on, and I will do that at the table. With our slip pocket, I am going to top stitch this. You can top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure it is top stitched. A good trim. All right, let's go back to the table. So I'm going to go ahead and thread my zippers really fast. All right, I have my zippers on now, and this part is finished for the moment. I'm going to grab my lining. I'm going to pull this out a little bit. Nope, out. There we go. I would recommend ironing it flat if you haven't already. I've got my slip pocket. And what we are going to do is I am going to measure up 2 inches on the center. And if you want, you can fold this in half. And by this I mean your your pocket. Match that up with your center line, butt it up against the ruler, and fold it open. So now that it is open, now I will show you how I do this. Because it is waterproof canvas, I don't want to put any pins in there. I like to fold the bottom up and clip to secure for the moment. And then this is just to help me not lose my sanity, because I will top stitch here, and then once I get down here, this pocket isn't going to move, so I will do that. This is now ready to go to the machine. To save yourself a little bit of time, go ahead and find the centers on the short edge of the exterior bottom gusset, and if you want, go ahead and put your D-rings right on that center. And we will come back. So I'm just top stitching, back stitching well right here at the beginning. Trimming threads. Let's save a little bit of time, shall we? I've got our back main panel. Let's line up our lining, wrong sides together. And we are going to clip those together, and we are going to base these two together. I said together. And we can go back to the table. So you need your zipper gusset. Make sure your zipper pulls are on. If you want, you could go ahead and singe up your zipper tape with a lighter. As you can see, mine's fraying a tiny bit. You need your bottom gusset lining and your bottom gusset. If you would feel better, I just have mine clipped on, but if you wanted to baste your D-rings onto your exterior, you can go ahead and do that. It's perfectly fine. So while I was at the machine, I changed my mind. So I did put a little bit of overhang. There's about a 1/4 inch overhang here. So I would go ahead and do that if I was me, and I am. So I pushed the edge of the D-ring off 1/4 inch, and then I basted the D-ring on. I don't know, changed my mind, it happens. So send your zipper tape if you haven't already. Cool. Then I'm going to put right side to right side of the zipper gusset. Clip. Repeat for the other side. This over, and then I'm going to right sides together the zipper gusset lining. Then we're going to the machine, and I'm going to stitch this together at a 1/4 inch. I will be back stitching all the way across, so like back stitch, back stitch, back stitch, just so it's good and secure, and I'll repeat for both sides. So this is at a 1/4 inch, back stitching really well, back stitching really well, back stitching really well, back stitching really well. Trim the threads. Okay. Trim the clips. And repeat. I'm going to flip this right sides out because I know what I'm doing most days. I'm going to press the seams well together. I'm going to get a buttload of clips, and then I am going to clip the exterior gusset and the lining together so that I can baste them together. So this is what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to clippity, clip, clip all the way across, just like so. So what I'm going to do is I am going to start about here. I'm going to baste this down. Then when I get to the seam connection here, I'm going to pivot, top stitch across the D-ring, pivot, baste the other side down, continue, and then repeat. Pivot at this seam connection, top stitch across, and then finish up my base stitch. So that's what I will be doing. I'm going to go through and clean up any of my stitches. See, I've got one that's kind of just chilling out there. I'll clean that up. You've got your finished gusset loop. What you're going to do is you're going to match up your seams to your sides. I would recommend doing it to both sides to help keep you straight. And then you're going to make sure that your centers are visible on your zipper gusset. Your centers are clear and visible on your zipper. And if they need to be adjusted, adjust them. Oh, this one needs adjusted a tiny bit. Fixed. And then you're going to make sure your centers are good and clear on your bottom gusset. And since I cut my zipper, I want to go ahead and give that a quick singe. There. After you do that, what we're going to do is we are going to take those centers and we are going to match those up. So match that center up, match those centers up. And what this is going to do is this is going to give me my side centers. So I'm going to go ahead and add some clips so it's straight for me. Clip. Sometimes I've had bags where it falls right on the seams, and then sometimes it just laughs and laughs and laughs and says no. So this is one of those cases where it's just going to laugh at me. So I'm going to go ahead and snip the center, snip that center, okay? And then I'm going to repeat for the other side. Right. All right. From here, you're going to need a boatload of clips, a pair of snips, and either your front and or back panel. We are going to flip this right side out, or wrong side in, or you know what I'm trying to say. This way. You want the exterior inside the hoop. I tend to want to do the hardest part first. For me, I'm changing my mind as I stand here. So we are going to do the zipper side first. And since the zipper is the front of the bag, I'm going to grab the front panel. And then I'm going to match up my landmarks. So here's the top of the bag. And then here is the bottom of the bag. And then we found our side seams. So there is the side of the bag. And here is the second, or the final frontier. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and clip this around. I'm just okay. Now we want these corners to lay down flat, so we can give those just a very. I want those to lay down flat. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So I'm going to give these just a couple snips, nothing crazy. And I'm not cutting into my seam allowance, as you should be able to see. And I'm just going to press this so that it matches in with that curve. Just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to clip to secure. And then I'm going to repeat. Alright, and then we are going to base stitch this all the way around at 1/8 of an inch. Alright, so what I have here is I have my stiletto, and it's going to help me, especially around those curves. I'm going to start on a flat side because I value my sanity, or what I have left of it. And then trim my threads. Now, from here, I'm actually not going to go back to the table, and I forgot to mention it. You need, some bias tape. You can use waterproof canvas, or you can use some cotton. This is actually double fold bias tape that I got off of Amazon. I usually buy in bulk. So just going to fold this in half. And I like to start towards the bottom. I usually start on the bottom or on the side. And you want to make sure that your edge is up in your fold. And then I will fold that over. And then I clip. And I was... Alright, and now I'm going to stitch all the way around at 1/4 inch, securing the bias tape. Go through and trim your threads. Maybe boop it with the lighter if you feel so inclined. And then we are going to do what we did on this side to this side. So this is what it looks like once you get the front panel on. Make sure you put the slip pocket facing up towards the zipper, because you don't want that upside down. Don't be like Nefarious. So we're going to sew this where, with the pocket, the panel facing down on the table. And then we are going to base stitch this on just like we did the first panel. Now we're going to go through and we are going to bias tape this just like we did the other side. Once you get this all bound up, now we are going to stitch this bias tape on at 1/4 of an inch. So face down, doesn't matter where you start. Now, because this bag is made of vinyl and waterproof canvas, I highly recommend heating it up with a blow dryer so that it will be easier to turn out. So that is what I am going to do. Once you get your bag all turned out, this is what it looks like. This is really obnoxious if you've been dealing with that in the past. what you can do is you can train your bag. So what you will do is you will fold this down like so. And I really recommend using those really large binder clips. I actually do not have any right now. My children have ran off with them. But you would use those really large binder clips to train this to lay down. Just like so. And then you can let this sit for a couple hours or however you want to do it. Now, Nefarious, which is me, will cheat. And here is how I cheat. I like to heat my vinyl up and then cool it down rapidly, specifically around this area, so that it will train a little bit faster and stays out of our zipper. As you can see, I am using my old plastic clips because they are a little bit larger than my new metal clips, and they will push that seam out of the way. So I am going to go ahead and rapidly heat this up and cool it down a couple times, and we'll be back. And once you are all finished, you've got your seam all nice and trained up, this is what Angie looks like. Isn't she pretty? Nice and square, nice and flat, if you can see that. So without further ado, there you go. I want to thank you for sewing along with me today. We made the Angie. She measures at 9.5 by 9.5 and 2 inches tall. She is a little of a pickly prayer when we get to those corners, but she is a easy enough sew. We did make the handle and we did do the inside slip panel pocket on the back panel there. We added the D-ring so you could do a crossbody for your little square bag. I can't wait to see all of your Angies out in the wild, so make sure you're tagging K&A Custom Fabrics and, of course, your girl Nefarious Magic Cat. So for now, ta-ta, and I'll see you around.